Carlos Mendez stared at his hands under the fluorescent lights of the maintenance closet. Cracked skin, chemical burns, calluses that would never heal. 45 years old, and this was his life. But he wasn't complaining. He had a job. He had a roof over his head. He had made it to America. That was more than most people back in Colombia could say. Every night at 9 p.m., Carlos started his shift. Manhattan office buildings, 23 floors of glass and steel and money. He emptied trash cans filled with half-eaten sushi and discarded business plans. He cleaned bathrooms used by people who made more in an hour than he made in a month. And he watched. Carlos always watched. His English was terrible. After 12 years in America, he still struggled with basic conversations. But he understood numbers. Numbers were universal, and every single night, Carlos noticed something that would change everything. The vending machines. Floor 23 had a Coca-Cola machine. Floor 17 had a snack machine. The lobby had a coffee machine. Carlos passed these machines every single night. Hundreds of times. Thousands of times. Over the years. And he noticed a pattern. Every morning around 6 a.m., just as Carlos was finishing his shift, a man would arrive. Middle-aged guy. Overweight. Not even wearing a suit. Just jeans and a t-shirt. But he had keys. Keys to every single vending machine in the building. The man would open each machine, count the money, empty the cash boxes into a black duffel bag, and leave. The whole process took maybe 20 minutes. Carlos watched this ritual for months. Who was this man? Why did he come every single day? And how much money was in those machines? One night Carlos gathered his courage. His shift was ending. The vending machine guy was making his rounds. Carlos approached him with his broken English and asked the question that had been burning in his mind. "Excuse me, sir. How much money in machine?" The man looked up, surprised that someone was talking to him. He saw Carlos in his janitor uniform and smiled. "You don't want to know, amigo." But Carlos insisted. He needed to know. Something in his gut told him this was important. The man laughed and shrugged. Maybe because it was late. Maybe because Carlos seemed harmless. Maybe because he was just in a good mood that day. "This machine right here? About $300 a day. I got 23 machines in this building alone. You do the math." Carlos did the math. $300 times 23 machines. $6,900 per day from one building. That night Carlos couldn't sleep. His tiny studio apartment in Queens suddenly felt even smaller. The numbers kept spinning in his head. If one machine made $300 a day, that was $9,000 a month, $108,000 a year. From one machine that just sat there. No employees, no management, just electricity and products. Carlos earned $27,000 a year, scrubbing toilets and mopping floors. 60 hours a week. His back hurt constantly, his hands were destroyed, and he could barely pay rent. But a machine could make 4 times his annual salary just by existing. The thought wouldn't leave him alone. Carlos had saved exactly $1,200 over the past 3 years. Every spare dollar, every overtime shift, every birthday. That money was supposed to be for emergencies. For sending back home to his mother in Bogota, for maybe, someday, starting a small business. Could he buy a vending machine with that money? The next morning, Carlos didn't go to sleep after his shift. Instead, he went to the public library. He sat at a computer with Google Translate open in one tab and vending machine suppliers in another. His eyes burned from exhaustion, but he kept reading. Used vending machines cost between $800 and $2,000. Location rent varied from $50 to $200 per month. Product costs depended on the items, but the margins were good, really good. A can of Coke cost about 40 cents wholesale, sold for $2 in the machine. That was 160% markup. Carlos found a used Coca-Cola machine on Craigslist, $1,200. The seller was in New Jersey. Carlos rented a van that same day, drove 2 hours, met the seller in a warehouse parking lot. The seller looked skeptical when he saw Carlos. "You know how to operate this thing?" Carlos didn't know, but he would learn. "Yes, yes, I know." He loaded the heavy machine into the van with the seller's help, paid the $1,200 in cash, every dollar he had saved, and drove back to Queens with his entire life savings, transformed into a metal box that dispensed soda. Now came the hard part. Where would he put it? Carlos couldn't just walk into office buildings and ask for a location. His English was too poor. He would get rejected immediately. He would look like a fool. But then he remembered something. The security guards at the buildings he cleaned. Carlos was friendly with all of them. He always said good morning. Sometimes he brought them coffee. They respected him because he worked hard and never caused problems. Maybe they could help. Carlos talked to Jose first. Jose worked security at a building on 47th Street. He was Dominican, an immigrant like Carlos. They had shared stories about leaving home and chasing the American dream. Carlos explained his situation. The vending machine, the opportunity, the fear. Jose thought for a moment, then his face lit up. "There's a small office building on 47th. My cousin owns it. 6 floors. About 40 people work there. No vending machines. Let me talk to him." 3 days later, Carlos got a phone call. Jose's cousin would let him put the machine in the lobby. $75 a month rent. Carlos would be responsible for stocking it, maintaining it, and keeping it clean. Carlos almost cried. This was it. His chance. He spent 2 full days learning everything about the machine. How to set prices. How to stock it properly. How to fix basic jams. YouTube became his teacher. Google Translate became his textbook. On a Monday morning, Carlos installed his vending machine in the lobby of that small office building on 47th Street. He stocked it with Coca-Cola, Sprite, Pepsi, water, and energy drinks. He set the prices at $2 per can, and then he left for his cleaning job that night, wondering if he had just made the biggest mistake of his life. The first week, that machine made $127 in revenue. After product costs and location rent, Carlos netted $43. $43 from a machine that just sat there. He worked 12-hour shifts cleaning floors to make that much money. The second week brought $156. The third week, $178. People in the building were discovering the machine. Word was spreading. The convenience was undeniable. Carlos did the math again. If this one machine was netting him $600 a month and he had 10 machines, that would be $6,000 a month. More than double his cleaning salary. But where would he get the money for 9 more machines? Carlos went back to Craigslist, found another used machine for $900. This time he didn't have cash, so he did something terrifying. He applied for a credit card. His first credit card ever. The limit was $2,000. He bought the second machine on credit. Jose helped him find another location, a small gym in the Bronx. The owner agreed to $100 a month rent. Carlos installed a snack machine. This time, protein bars, chips, candy, nuts. Within 3 weeks, that machine was making $700 a month net profit. Carlos was now making $1,300 a month from 2 machines, while he slept, while he worked, while he did absolutely nothing. He could barely believe it. But he wasn't satisfied. If 2 machines could make $1,300, how many machines did he need to quit his cleaning job? To be free from scrubbing toilets? To actually rest his destroyed body? Carlos did the math obsessively. 20 machines at $600 average profit each. $12,000 a month. More than enough to quit. More than enough to live. But 20 machines would cost at least $18,000. He had no savings left. His credit card was maxed. Banks wouldn't give him a business loan with his income and English level. Then Carlos remembered something. The vending machine guy from the first building. the man who had casually revealed the golden secret. What if Carlos asked him for advice? It took Carlos 3 weeks to build up the courage. But one morning he waited in the lobby. When the vending machine guy arrived, Carlos approached him. In broken English, Carlos explained everything. His two machines, his dream, his problem. The man listened. Really listened. And when Carlos finished, the man smiled. "You got balls, amigo. Most people just dream. You actually did it." His name was Rick. He had been in the vending machine business for 19 years. Started with one machine just like Carlos. Now he had over 400 machines across New York. Rick gave Carlos the most valuable advice he had ever received. Stop buying machines. Start renting locations first. Get 20 locations committed. Then go to a vending machine distributor and negotiate a bulk deal. They'll give you payment plans. And once you have volume, the profit margins get even better. Carlos followed the advice exactly. He spent the next 6 months networking obsessively. Every building he cleaned, he talked to the building managers. Every security guard. Every superintendent. Every property owner. His English was terrible, but his determination was clear. One by one, locations said yes. A dentist office, a car repair shop, a small hotel, a community center, an apartment building lobby. Most locations were small. Most didn't even have existing vending machines. But Carlos saw what others missed: opportunity in overlooked places. After 6 months, Carlos had commitments for 38 locations. He went to a vending machine distributor in Brooklyn, showed them his list of locations, his 2 existing profitable machines. His plan? They offered him 25 machines with a payment plan. $2,000 down, $400 a month for 2 years. Carlos took the deal. He maxed out 2 more credit cards for the down payment. It was the scariest financial decision of his life. But within 90 days, all 25 machines were installed and operational. The first full month, those 25 machines generated $18,000 in revenue. After all costs, product, rent, payments, Carlos netted $6,200. More than double his cleaning salary. Carlos quit his job the next week. For the first time in 12 years, he didn't have to scrub toilets, didn't have to breathe chemical fumes, didn't have to work nights while the rest of the world slept. He was 46 years old and finally free. But Carlos didn't stop. He couldn't stop. The momentum was too strong. The opportunity was too obvious. Every single day he found new locations: laundromats, barbershops, mechanics, small offices, anywhere people gathered and needed convenience. Within a year, Carlos had 83 machines. Within 2 years, 214 machines. By year 3, 497 machines. His operation became systematic. He hired 2 people to help with restocking, bought a delivery van, created routes, optimized inventory, negotiated better wholesale prices. With volume, the profit margins kept improving. What started as $600 net per machine per month grew to $800, then $900, then over $1,000 per machine. By year 4, Carlos had 847 vending machines across New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. His annual revenue crossed $12 million. His net profit was $6.2 million per year. From vending machines. Those same machines he used to walk past every night as a janitor. Those same machines he used to empty trash around. Those same machines that most people never even noticed. Carlos bought a house in New Jersey. 5 bedrooms, a backyard, space for his mother who he brought from Colombia, his younger brother and his family. 3 generations under one roof, built on the foundation of silent metal boxes that dispensed cold drinks. His hands started to heal. The chemical burns faded. The calluses softened. He gained weight from finally eating well. He slept normal hours for the first time in decades. People asked him constantly how he did it. How did a janitor with broken English and $1,200 build a multi-million-dollar vending machine empire? Carlos always gave the same answer. I watched, I learned. I started small, and I never stopped. The secret wasn't complicated. Vending machines were everywhere but invisible. Most people walked past them 1,000 times and never thought about the business behind them, never wondered who owned them, never calculated the passive income they generated. Carlos saw what everyone else missed because he was forced to notice. He was on the outside looking in. He was desperate enough to ask questions, brave enough to risk everything, and persistent enough to never quit. Today, Carlos owns over 1,000 vending machines. His operation generates $17,000 per day, every single day, weekends, holidays. While he sleeps, while he travels, while he does absolutely nothing. He's expanded into coffee machines, snack machines, healthy food vending, and even laundry machines in apartment buildings. Diversification keeps growing his empire. His company employs 12 people now. Most of them immigrants like him, people who speak broken English but understand numbers, people who are hungry for opportunity and willing to work. Carlos never forgot where he came from. Every new employee starts the same way he did, with one machine, with one location, with a chance to build something from nothing. And the crazy part? The opportunity is still there. Right now, everywhere. In office buildings and gyms and hotels and airports and schools, there are thousands of locations that need vending machines. Thousands of property owners who would say yes to passive income sharing arrangements. The barrier to entry is low. A used machine costs less than a used car. The learning curve is simple. The profit margins are proven. The business model is recession resistant, because people always need drinks and snacks. Carlos proved something profound. You don't need a college degree, you don't need perfect English, you don't need a huge inheritance or a lucky break. You just need to notice what everyone else ignores, to start with what you can afford, to learn obsessively, and to scale methodically. That janitor with cracked hands and broken dreams is now worth over $40 million. All because he asked one simple question. How much money is in that machine? The world is full of invisible opportunities. Vending machines, laundromats, ATMs, storage units, parking lots, car washes, businesses that run themselves once the system is built. Most people walk past them every single day and never think twice. But what if you stopped? What if you asked? What if you started? Carlos did, and it changed everything.